This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Monday morning. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Rafael Sanchez. Here's what's making headlines on this Monday, August the 3rd.
There's been much discussion around body-worn cameras for our department, stretching back 6 years.
Today, those discussions become a reality as IMPD will unveil its new body cam program. Working for you, we're taking a look at how the program aims to protect both you and local law enforcement officers.
And as schools reopen across central Indiana, more cases of COVID-19 among students and teachers are being reported. This morning, we have the latest on the where and the who.
And a local church is making sure that students have more than just the school supplies they need when they head back to the classroom. Working for you, how I-Town Church is keeping backpacks and bellies full. But before we get to all of those top stories today, we want to thank you for joining our team on Good Morning Indiana. Special good morning to my friend Rafael Sanchez joining us now down in Johnson County. Rafael, I hope you had a great weekend. Beautiful weather here.
Well, first of all, Lauren, welcome back. Always great to have you back. We missed you on Friday. A big thank you to Amanda for filling in. And of course, this morning, Alyssa Donovan is filling in for our Todd Clausen. And Alyssa, as I stepped outside of my living room, beautiful moonlight and such cooler temperatures. Wow.
It feels kind of nice today, right? Nice change from all that humidity that we've had, and that's going to stick with us. We have this cold air that's going to move in with this cold front that's pushing through today, so temperatures are going to be a little bit below average over the next couple days. But first, we do have to get through a hiccup of thunderstorms and showers today. Most of that activity is coming in this afternoon, but I do want to show you there is a cluster of showers and storms just ahead of this front to extreme southern counties this morning. This is way south. This is south of even Bloomington. This is bringing us some showers and thunderstorms, though. You can see we have some lightning on the radar and some heavy downpours. Most of that is going to continue to slide off to the east and stay far out of our area in central Indiana. Our activity is happening later this afternoon, so that's when a cold front is going to push through, bringing us the potential of showers and storms by midday and into the early afternoon and early evening. Temperatures today into the mid and upper 70s. Those scattered showers and storms come in this afternoon. Not expecting severe weather at this time. Likely we will just see some heavy downpours, possibly some lightning and gusty winds. The good news is behind this system, much cooler and more pleasant weather as we head into the middle of the week. I'll have those details in just a few minutes.
All right, Alyssa, thank you. Let's take a look right now at traffic up in Boone County northbound I-65. Still have lanes blocked, it looks like, as they continue this vehicle fire situation near Whitestown. You can see traffic is not moving past that spot. The opposite direction southbound traveling up to speed, so just keep that in mind. Avoid that spot for your commute. You'll need to find an alternate route. This morning, 2 people are recovering after gunfire on the city's northeast side of town. Just before 8 o'clock Sunday night, officers were called to a home on East 34th Street between Franklin Road and North Post Road. When they arrived, they found 2 people with gunshot wounds. Both were awake and breathing. Officers are still investigating what led up to this shooting. No further information has been released at this time.
And Lauren, over on the west side of Indianapolis, 1 person recovering after being shot in the leg. Around 7 last night, police were called to a home on Ashway Drive. That's near North High School Road and West 34th Street. The victim was taken to the hospital. We're told that he's expected to recover. A major developing story this morning. After waiting for years, the city of Indianapolis today will begin deploying body cameras from Metro police officers.
And the mayor and police chief, they're committed to this happening before the end of summer. Our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning with all the details. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So all 1,100 officers for the IMPD Police Department will have body cameras soon, starting today with officers in the East District, the busiest district for the department. The goal is to equip 10 officers per day with the cameras, meaning most everyone should have cameras by the end of the year. The cameras have automatic recording in instances like when an officer is within 500 feet of a dispatched run or when lying flat for more than 10 seconds. Many groups and individuals in the city have been calling for the cameras for some time as a way to improve police accountability. In a press conference earlier this summer, Mayor Joe Hogsett spoke out about the body cameras and what he hopes it brings to Indianapolis.
It is my hope that our continued commitment to building bridges of trust with the community through our actions and our policies, and that such provide a measure of assurance for every member of our community.
Today at 1 o'clock, they are having a virtual kickoff for the new camera program to explain the details of the rollout and how they will be used department-wide. Now, again, these cameras are going to be rolled out today, starting with 10 people each day. So if they stay on that schedule, they should have everyone with body cameras by the middle of November. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV 6.
Kelsey, thank you. It's 5:05. A Black Lives Matter mural now adorns Indiana Avenue here in downtown Indianapolis. This is an overhead look here at the finished product. 18 artists in all worked on the mural all day on Saturday. One artist for each letter, plus the hashtag on the front and the fist at the end. Each artist was given their own creative freedom to paint whatever they want. And the mural was approved by the City County Council last month.
Lauren, this morning, new cases of COVID-19, they remain high across our state. Here are the numbers from this weekend. The State Department of Health says another 784 people tested positive for the coronavirus. That's according to the latest report. 4 more deaths were also reported Sunday by the state. The health department's report shows that the 7-day moving average of cases appears to be flattening over the past several days. The number of ICU beds is now down 37.2%.
2 central Indiana schools are reporting positive COVID tests from members of their football team. Saturday, Warren Central High School said a member of its football team tested positive for COVID-19. On Friday, a spokesperson for Southern Hancock School says football players and families were told of a positive test from a New Pal player. New Pal had started optional summer practices on July 6th. This past Friday's optional practice was canceled just as a precaution. Southern Hancock schools still plan to begin the school year in person today. The cases involving football players brings the total number of coronavirus infections that are affecting central Indiana schools to at least 5. Last Thursday, a student at Greenfield Central Junior High School tested positive for the virus on the very first day of their school year. A staffer at Avon High School also tested positive, though the school district says that employee had no contact with other students and staff. And earlier last week, Indian Creek High School in Johnson County announced that one of the team's football coaches was being isolated by COVID-19.
And Lauren, because of all of that, we know that back to school feels a lot different this year because of the pandemic. And that's why a local church is really reaching out, taking those extra steps to make sure that young people have the supplies and the food that they need. Mike Woods is the outreach pastor at I-Town Church. He says he knows some families may be struggling during this specific time. That's why the church wanted to make sure that kids received nutritious snacks and meals that are easily accessible to all.
Some school districts have really great lunch programming where families can come pick it up. Another thing you have to factor in, though, is there is transportation limitations. Even if the school does provide good meals, families may not be able to, according to their work schedule. Is it a single parent? Is it a multi-parent home? Is it a situation where a family member is leaning on a grandparent or an aunt or uncle or an older sibling? They may not have the access to go.
A great job to them. Volunteers will make the church make weekly deliveries to organizations and locations throughout Marion County. If you or someone you know could benefit from this program, check out this story in the RTV6 app or online at theindychannel.com. On this Monday, it is great to have our Alyssa Donovan in the weather seat. Alyssa, first of all, it was a great Sunday, and now it's a cool Monday. So welcome. It's great to have you with us this morning.
Yeah, it's great to be here, and I am bringing some nicer weather as we head into tomorrow and the rest of the week. Today, though, we are going to see a little bit of weather as we head into the afternoon. Showers and storms making their way in, but as Raphael said, a little bit cooler to start our day. 66 right now in Indianapolis, 63 for areas to the north. So a cooler start. That's partially due to that cold front that's going to pass through later this afternoon. And I want to show you, we do have just a small cluster of showers and storms to extreme southern counties in Indiana right now. Most of that activity, though, is going to steer clear of us. Our better chance of showers and storms comes in this afternoon and early evening in central Indiana. The good news is some calmer weather behind this. All of those details in just a few minutes.
Lisa, thank you so much. After the break, a warning from Dr. Deborah Burks. why she says the U.S. is now entering a new phase of the coronavirus pandemic.
And Isaias is expected to make landfall later today in the U.S., potentially as a hurricane. Straight ahead, we'll have the very latest on how the storm is presenting new challenges with the COVID-19 pandemic. It is 5:10. Stick around. We'll be right back. It is 5:13. The U.S. continues to report more COVID-19 cases and deaths than any other country. That's according to new numbers from Johns Hopkins University.
And Lauren, this increase comes as the White House Coronavirus Task Force Director, Dr. Deborah Birx, who joined us all last week here on Good Morning Indiana, is now warning that the United States is in a new phase of this pandemic. Meredith Wood has much more.
A new phase in the fight against coronavirus. Dr. Deborah Birx offering a dire new view on America's battle against the pandemic.
What we're seeing today is different from March and April. It is extraordinarily widespread. It's into the rural as equal urban areas.
Dr. Birx's bleak outlook comes as the U.S. continues to report more cases and more deaths from coronavirus than any other country. According to the latest data from Johns Hopkins University, there are more than 4.6 million COVID-19 cases in the U.S., and more than 154,000 Americans have died from the virus. Meanwhile, a forecast published by the CDC projects the death toll could climb to 173,000 by August 22nd.
It's very frustrating as an epidemiologist to see these case numbers continuing to rise without a national strategy, without adequate testing, without contact tracing as we need it. All of the things that we've been talking about for months and months. And these numbers are going to continue to go up until we do have these things in place.
Dr. Birx says there are 20 states that she's watching very closely and that each state must tailor its response to mitigate cases.
It's not super spreading individuals, it's super spreading events, and we need to stop those. We definitely need to take more precautions.
I'm Meredith Wood reporting.
In our Democracy 2020 coverage, the politics involving this pandemic, the FBI now concerned that ransomware will be targeting the elections. They say that attacks focused on state and local governments have been on the rise. Cyber criminals have been stealing data and holding it hostage until they get paid. The FBI has put out advisories to governments along with recommendations on how to prevent attacks this November.
A California congresswoman is gaining traction as a potential VP pick for Joe Biden. Representative Karen Bass is the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. She's believed to be on Biden's short list. The 66-year-old made history in 2008 when California's Assembly elected her to be its 67th Speaker. She currently serves as a member of the House Judiciary Committee. California Senator Kamala Harris and President Obama's former National Security Advisor Susan Rice are also believed to be among the most serious contenders.
So, Lauren, people are getting ready. The storm known as Isaias is expected to make landfall later today on the United States, potentially as a hurricane. It has already clobbered the Bahamas over the weekend, and now it's off the coast of Florida. ABC's Kenneth Moten has much more.
This morning, millions of people from the deep south to New England keeping a close eye on Isaias, with the storm crawling up the East Coast.
The storm continued its march toward North Carolina overnight.
The storm setting its sights on the Carolinas today, packing winds up to 70 miles per hour, heavy rain and up to 4 feet of storm surge in some areas.
Disappointed and frustrated and sad.
Vacationers forced to evacuate the coast, and North Carolina's governor warning people to take extra precautions because of the coronavirus pandemic.
We know how to plan, prepare, and respond when it's over. Nothing about that has changed. But this time, we're going to have to do it with a mask on.
Video from the Bahamas shows what Isaias is leaving behind, potentially life-threatening flooding and damaging winds.
Water and waves driving onto this beach.
In North Florida, some beaches are closed today as 15-foot waves slammed the shore. Kaylee Tracy with our station in Jacksonville was there.
We've seen the wind pick up here and the waves have gotten a lot bigger.
But for some, a surfer's paradise as the storm keeps its distance from the coast for now.
You drop in on that thing, you feel like it's a tsunami behind you. All that power, the ponies just get released.
Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
Well, here in the Midwest, we are dealing with some showers and storms coming in this afternoon. We're also going to deal with some cooler weather. We're starting this morning in the 60s in Indianapolis, 66 degrees, but you can see up to the northwest, right around Minneapolis, Sioux Falls, Des Moines, Iowa. We are seeing those temperatures in the 50s and lower 60s. That cooler air is moving towards the Midwest, so we are going to see those cooler temperatures by tomorrow morning here in Indianapolis. Will be in the mid 50s as well. So as we head through the day, that cold front is going to continue to push into the area and bring us those showers and storms. Now, to start the day, most of us are starting dry, but we do have this cluster of showers and storms to extreme southern counties this morning. That's just bringing some heavy downpours as well as some lightning to areas to extreme southern counties in Indiana. Can't rule out seeing maybe a pop-up shower straying into Bloomington, Seymour, Nashville area, but most of us are going to stay dry for the first part of the day, and that's going to continue to push off to the east. Our better chance of showers and storms comes in this afternoon as that front continues to push into Indiana. That cold front that will bring us a little bit of convection, the possibility of some showers and the possibility of some quick thunderstorms in there as well. But you can see most of us going to stay dry through about the noon hour, and then by the early afternoon, that's when we'll start to see that convection, the possibility of some quick hit and miss showers and some thunderstorms that could bring us some heavy downpours, gusty winds and lightning. Not expecting any severe weather with this. This is just going to last in the afternoon and early evening. As the sun goes down, that is going to calm down as well. We're going to be dry overnight. Severe weather possibilities is not in our area today, just that chance of some heavy downpours, lightning and gusty winds. Now, behind this cold front, colder air is going to settle in. High pressure is going to take control. So what does that mean? That means drier conditions, a little bit more sunshine and cooler air and less humidity. So it's going to be a comfortable time during our midweek, really Tuesday through Thursday. Temperatures are going to drop off quite a bit tomorrow. We'll be into the mid 70s. That's where we'll stay through about Thursday when we'll start that climb again as we see another front approaching for the weekend. So enjoy that middle time of the week because that's when we're going to see the most comfortable conditions for our forecast. Taking a look at this should say Monday. It's not Sunday anymore. That weekend's over. Temperatures starting in the 60s this morning will climb into the upper 70s this afternoon with those scattered showers and storms moving in as well. Looking at the 7-day forecast, partly sunny for our Tuesday, and then you can see those temperatures drop way off. We're going to be below average for most of the work week before we climb back up into the 80s. Chances of showers return over the weekend.
All right, Alyssa, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads right now. This is I-65 near State Road 334 up in the Whitestown area in Boone County. Now, we have been monitoring a vehicle fire, and it looks like it's still blocking and restricting one direction of traffic. That's the northbound side of the road. So as you're traveling in that area, keep that in mind. You will want to get off the interstate. I'd suggest maybe taking Indianapolis Road that runs alongside the interstate. Use that as a detour as you reroute. We'll continue to monitor this scene, though, and of course, we'll keep you updated as we see any lanes reopen. Raphael?
So, Lauren, this remains a developing story. The president vowing to ban the popular video app TikTok. And now Microsoft says it's interested in buying the company to keep it running. Microsoft confirmed on Sunday that it's talking to the Chinese company known as ByteDance about a deal. Mr. Trump has said that he wants the app banned because of national security concerns. Microsoft says if it's able to buy the app, it plans on doing a full security review as well as giving some economic benefits of TikTok to the United States government.
At 521, you can now own merchandise from the infamous failed Fire Festival. The 2017 event was marketed as the ultimate luxury trip to the Bahamas, with celebrities like Kendall Jenner promoting it. Instead, ticket holders found an underdeveloped island with poorly constructed tents and skimpy food options. U.S. Marshals are now auctioning off hats, shirts, wristbands, and other branded items from the festival. The online auction lasts through August 13th. The proceeds will go to the victims of Billy McFarland's $26 million scam. He's currently serving 6 years in prison for the Fire Festival fraud. Mission accomplished. Astronauts from SpaceX's Dragon capsule are safely back on the Earth after completing their 2-month journey. We'll have a look at Sunday's historic return and what it means for the future of space travel coming up next.
And at 5:30, Metro Police investigating an overnight shooting on the city's west side. We'll have the latest on that investigation as Good Morning Indiana continues on this Monday, August the 3rd.
Welcome back. Mission accomplished. NASA and SpaceX completing a historic feat Sunday afternoon when 2 U.S. astronauts in the SpaceX Dragon capsule splashed down in the Gulf of Mexico.
The astronauts made that 19-hour journey back home after spending, Lauren, 2 months aboard the International Space Station. Bob Behnke and Doug Hurley are the first astronauts that NASA has launched into orbit, as you may recall, in 9 years. They're also the first humans to ever go there on a commercial spacecraft.
Look, we just made history. The United States of America once again has a human spaceflight program.
And welcome back home. The mission was technically considered a test flight, but Hurley and Behnke's safe return paves the way for NASA to officially certify Crew Dragon as a human-rated spacecraft. And keeping with this theme, of course, Alyssa, this weekend felt out of this world, especially with the temperatures feeling more like spring than summer. What's going on?
Yeah, you know what? It was kind of a nice weekend. We had some showers here and there, but for the most part, we were in the clear when it came to nice temperatures, and those nicer temperatures will stick with us this week. However, today we do have those rain chances back in the forecast. Most of us starting this morning dry. We have a small cluster of storms to the south of us. Better chance of rain and storm chances this afternoon. Much cooler and drier conditions behind this system. So we are in the clear for the rest of the week. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
No more waiting. Today, the first wave of body cameras will be deployed to Metro police officers. Our Kelsey Anderson is standing by live with the details.
And Lauren, more central Indiana schools are being impacted by COVID-19. The changes a Madison County school is making after at least one staff member tested positive for COVID-19. Welcome to Good Morning Indiana on this Monday, August the 3rd. And Lauren stepped outside during the commercial and have to tell you, though I'm not one to run or bike this early in the morning, it is nice outside, really cool outdoors.
Yes, and what we had last night, Raphael, if we could just bottle that up and just have that for the rest of summer, I would be happy. It was so nice out yesterday, and obviously this morning still on the cooler side. After all that heat, Alyssa, it's kind of a welcome surprise.
Yeah, so we are going to stick with these cooler temperatures for much of the work week. However, today we're starting with that cool and dry air for many of us, and then we are going to see some changes by the afternoon. But as you head out the door this morning, mostly cloudy and mild conditions, temperatures starting in the 60s. Now, you do want to grab your umbrella. You're not going to need it the first half of the day, but you will need it the second half of the day. And if you are to extreme southern counties, you're going to need it this morning. So just to the extreme southern counties of Indiana, we do have this cluster of showers and storms moving through. That's bringing just a few thunderstorms, producing some lightning as well as heavy downpours. Most of that activity is going to continue to slide to the east. Our better chance of seeing showers and thunderstorms will happen this afternoon and evening. So here's a look at our rain chances. We are not going to see those really this morning, but they will ramp up as we head into the afternoon, and then they will die down again as that sun sets. If we do see thunderstorms, the only thing we're going to see with those is the potential of gusty winds, lightning, and possibly those heavy downpours with that as well. So that's what we're looking at for our Monday. Temperatures today, a little bit below average. Usually we're in the mid 80s. Today we're going to be into the upper 70s, and this is just the start of a cooling trend that we're going to see. So temperatures will cool off a little bit as we head into the next couple days with drier air in the forecast and some sunshine and drier conditions. I'll have more details coming up in just a bit.
All right, Alyssa, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. This is on the east side, I-70, a view here near Shadeland Avenue. Everything on the interstate looks to be traveling up to speed. Keep in mind, we do have some construction on the on-ramp in this area. It's scheduled to continue until at least 6 a.m. It's the eastbound I-70 on-ramp to I-465 near Shadeland Avenue. So just use caution as you're traveling through that area and keep that in mind this morning. No major issues over here on the east side, though, to slow down your morning drive. Raphael.
A major development on this Monday. The first wave of Metro police officers are set to begin body cameras for the first time ever. Lauren?
Yeah, and the rollout comes after years of waiting. City leadership committed to this being the year that it would finally happen following a couple of police-involved shootings, one back in May. Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning with the details. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So the East District will be the first district to get these body cameras because they are the busiest. But if everything goes to schedule, every officer, all 1,100, should have body cameras by the end of the year. The goal is to equip 10 officers per day with the cameras, meaning most everyone should have the cameras, again, by the end of the year. Many groups and individuals in the city have been calling for the cameras for some time as a way to improve police accountability. In a press conference earlier this summer, IMPD Chief Randall Taylor said the program they are using has technologies that will help with the transparency they are looking to have with the community.
The utility has a variety of automatic recording triggers or devices that help to turn an officer's body-worn camera on so that in stressful and potentially life-threatening situations, the onus is not entirely on the officer to remember to hit record.
Today, they are having a virtual kickoff for the new camera program at 1 o'clock to explain the details of the rollout and how they will be used department-wide. Again, starting today, those body cameras will be implemented in the East District. 10 officers every day they're hoping to give these cameras. So by mid-November, every officer should have a body camera. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV 6.
Kelsey, thank you. New overnight, one person in the hospital after a car was shot at on the city's west side. This remains under investigation. It happened just before 1 o'clock this morning on 21st Street and Sugar Grove Avenue near Riverside Park. Police telling RTV6 that two men were inside that vehicle at the time one was hit in the shooting. He was taken to the hospital in serious condition. Police have not released information on a suspect at this time. One man is dead after a boat he was on tipped over Sunday afternoon, this occurring in Henry County. The state conservation officers say this happened around 2:30 Sunday afternoon at Westwood Park. Officers say that 61-year-old Jeff Maxwell of Anderson, he fell in the water along with another man when the boat overturned. The other man was able to safely get back to shore, and Maxwell's body was recovered in the water later that evening. The coroner has not yet determined his cause of death.
At 5:35, more schools are dealing with COVID-19 issues across central Indiana. Warren Central High School says a member of its football team tested positive for the virus. Spokesman Dennis Jarrett says the player is following school system guidance and isolating for 10 days. He says the school district has notified anyone who is in close contact with the student as well. They will have to quarantine for 14 days. Jarrett did not say how many people would have to quarantine. Warren Central plans to reopen its schools for both in-person and virtual classes on Thursday.
Now let's take you to Madison County, and students at Elwood Junior Senior High School will do virtual learning at home all this week after at least one staff member tested positive for the coronavirus. The superintendent in Elwood says several other staff members at the school are in quarantine because they were in close contact with a staffer who got sick. He goes on to say that no students had close contact with the person. As of now, the superintendent says the school plans to reopen a week from today, that being August the 10th. As the new school year approaches, you can find the latest information from local school districts and tips to navigate this really unprecedented year at theindychannel.com/safely back to school.
Well, Indiana has reported more than 1,000 new cases again over the past weekend. And so here's a look at the latest breakdown of the numbers. The Indiana State Department of Health confirmed 784 new cases of COVID-19, 4 new deaths on Sunday. That's down from the 989 cases that were reported on Saturday, bringing the total number of cases to nearly 68,000. And now 2,775 Hoosiers have died from the virus. That's all since the pandemic began. More than 769,000 people have been tested so far, with 8.8% of those tests coming back positive. The U.S. continues to set grim new records in the coronavirus pandemic, now with more than 4.6 million cases nationwide. Raphael?
And Lauren, these numbers are simply just eye-opening. The Centers for Disease Control, on top of that, predicts that up to 182,000 Americans could die by August the 22nd. This as parents are also trying to decide whether or not to send their children to school. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
Sam and Joanne Reck were married for nearly 30 years until they both fell victim to the deadly coronavirus.
I love you, darling, and I hope you really enjoy this video.
Sam sending video messages when Joanne was first diagnosed with COVID-19 and in her final hours donning full PPE to say their final goodbyes in person. 3 weeks later, he died in that same hospital room from the virus. Similar heartbreaking scenes unfolding across the country.
What we're seeing today is different from March and April. It is extraordinarily widespread.
July had the worst numbers since the pandemic began, with 1.9 million new cases. 22 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico seeing a rise in cases. Coronavirus Task Force Coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx on CNN saying the country is entering a new phase of the pandemic.
To everybody who lives in a rural area, you are not immune or protected from this virus.
On Sunday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi blasting Dr. Birx and the federal COVID-19 response, saying she doesn't have confidence in the doctor.
I think the president is spreading disinformation about the virus, and she is his appointee.
This as the debate to reopen schools rages on, with Indiana already reopening its classrooms. One middle school there reporting students testing positive in their first week back.
Getting a phone call saying your child's going to need to stay home for 2 weeks. Disappointing, yes.
And the Louisiana Department of Health reports 10% of the state's new cases are children, a bigger portion than people over 70.
Dr. Birx is also telling any Americans who travel to a vacation hotspot to assume they are infected and to consider self-isolating. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
A mother calling on the community here in Indianapolis to help get justice for her daughter who was shot and killed here in the capital city. A $2,000 reward is being offered, but 8 months later, still no arrests on this case. And that's why Ruby Berry spent this past weekend putting out these yard signs near West 38th Street and Lafayette Road. Her daughter, Alexis Edwards, was killed on December the 29th outside of her home during the day. That's near 52nd Street and Georgetown Road. Edwards' 3-year-old son was also shot, but he survived.
Every day I wake up, I feel like all over again, the nightmare, it's like you can't breathe, you're empty inside. And knowing that the people that ambushed my daughter, they killed her, they shot her down like an animal. And they also shot my grandson, which was 3 years, he was 3 years old at the time. It's hurtful. It's hurtful to look at my 2 grandchildren and they're hurting.
A mother and grandmother's heartache. Barry says that IMPD homicide detectives are still actively working this case, but she wants anyone with information to come forward so that the family can have some closure. You can call Crime Stoppers. That number is 317-262-TIPS with any information. Lauren?
Raphael, this month, the local community drumming initiative is putting the focus on giving a voice to those who they say often go unheard. The Pulse Project Indy is a drumming initiative that focuses on community, culture, and social justice. For 4 weeks in a row, they're performing an interactive rhythm session called Seen and Not Heard. We talked to the owner who says they're using the drums to be the voices of those who are underserved and live in vulnerable communities.
We are presenting Seen and Not Heard, which is centering voices that are often unheard, Black, Indigenous, people of color across the city in predominantly white neighborhoods where oftentimes they're ignored, voices aren't heard, or just simply shut out. And so we're using our drums to represent those voices right now.
Well, the group will be back in the next 2 weeks for the Seen and Not Heard session at 4 p.m. at the Emerson Theater on East 10th Street. The time right now is 5:42 on our Monday. Let's check in on our forecast with Alyssa Donovan.
And it feels pretty nice when you step outside this morning. Those temperatures are actually right at average in the mid-60s. And if you think it feels nice right now, you're going to think it feels a little cool tomorrow. We are going to drop into the 50s by tomorrow morning, and that's because we do have a cold front that's going to pass through today. Now, we do have a system system moving just to the south of us this morning, rather a cluster of thunderstorms. That's starting to spread towards Bloomington and into Seymour. We are just seeing a few lightning strikes with this system, as well as some heavy downpours. Most of that is going to continue off to the east, but we can't rule out maybe a quick pop-up shower around Bloomington and some of those south central Indiana counties this morning. Most of us, though, not going to see any of those shower activities until midday and into the afternoon hours. Earliest we could see that is really by the late morning hours. Temperatures today will be into the mid and upper 70s, so a little bit below average. Showers and thunderstorms expected this afternoon. Much cooler weather and calmer weather behind the system.
Alyssa, thank you. Health officials are soon to release the guidelines about how a new vaccine would be distributed across the country. Coming up, why they say some regions could be prioritized over others.
And even though Pacer fans, Lauren, can't watch this season's games in person, there is another way, yes, another way to be a part of the action. Still ahead, how you can be in the bubble as a virtual fan. Details coming up right here on Good Morning Indiana. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. So health officials are trying to figure out how to distribute a possible COVID-19 vaccine when it comes to market. And now some of those guidelines could be issued by late next month. With the recent resurgence in the south and the west of COVID-19 cases and a new one heading to the Midwest, some health officials are now considering geography as the priority, meaning that people in whatever the current hotspot is would get the vaccine first. Also at the top of that possible list would be essential workers and those at most risk for severe infection.
At 5:48, Lowe's is giving away $55 million in grants to help small businesses struggling during the pandemic. The home improvement chain is offering funds through the nonprofit called the Local Initiative Support Corporation. $30 million of those grants would go towards women and minority-owned businesses. The rest will support those in rural communities. Businesses can get up to $20,000 for paying rent, covering payroll and other operational costs. Today's the last day to apply. You can find the application on the Local Initiative Support Corporation's website. A large wildfire in California continues to grow this morning east of Los Angeles. The Apple Fire now covers more than 20,000 acres and it forced more than 7,000 people to evacuate. It's believed to have originated as 3 separate fires on Friday afternoon. The Forest Service last reported the fire has no containment at this time. The area has steep and rugged hillsides, making it inaccessible to the firefighters' vehicles. No injuries have been reported so far. Back here at home, let's get a check of our current forecast and the conditions out there. A little bit cooler, Alyssa.
Yeah, that's right. It feels kind of nice when you step outside. That humidity is not really in the forecast today. We're going to see some calmer and cooler conditions over the next couple days. However, this afternoon, some chances of showers and storms quickly before some nicer weather comes in midweek. Right now, 66 in Indianapolis, 63 in Kokomo, and 65 in Bloomington. And if you think that feels nice, you're really going to like tomorrow. We're going to drop about 10 degrees with our morning lows. I want to show you we do have a small cluster of showers and storms moving to extreme southern counties this morning, all the way to the south of Bloomington. We have seen some lightning strikes as well as some heavy downpours with that cluster of storms moving through, so we can't rule out seeing maybe some showers making their way into some of our south central counties this morning, but most of us are starting this day dry with our better chance of showers and storms coming in this afternoon and into the early evening. So that's all from this cold front that's going to come through later today. So we're going to stay mostly cloudy for the first half of the day with some peaks of sunshine for areas to the north. And then we are going to see that system make its way in by the early afternoon. We could see that by the late morning hours in central Indiana, but better chance of seeing that in those early afternoon hours. And you can see we're going to see that across central Indiana with those heavier downpours and rain showers expected around southwest counties today. That's where we're expecting about an inch or so of rainfall as that system moves through. Not expecting severe weather with this, but we can't rule out seeing some heavy downpours, possibly some lightning and gusty winds where we do see those thunderstorms develop. Behind this system, that cold air is going to settle in. High pressure is going to take control, and we are going to see some calmer, less humid conditions for most of the midweek time period. So we are in the upper 70s today, then we're going to drop into the mid 70s for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday before we climb back into the 80s by Friday, Saturday, ahead of another system that will bring bring us some showers and storms. But that middle part of the week is going to be really nice. Those temperatures will be below average, and we're going to see some sunshine and cooler, less humid air in the forecast. Today, however, starting with those temperatures in the 60s this morning, partly cloudy around central Indiana. Those clouds will bulk up as we head into the noon hour. That's when we're going to start to see some spot showers, scattered thunderstorms possible by the afternoon and early evening, clearing out overnight. Tomorrow, maybe a spot shower in the morning, but partly sunny besides that. 75 for our high on Tuesday. Then we're staying in the mid 70s for most of the work week. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're back into the 80s. A little bit more moisture in the forecast for the weekend when we do have some chances of showers and storms returning.
All right, Alyssa, thank you so much. Let's take a look up in the Boone County area. Still monitoring a traffic alert for your commute as we had a vehicle fire in the northbound lanes. You can still see those lanes are blocked off at this hour. They are diverting traffic. It looks like I would get off the road, maybe take Indianapolis Road as a detour. It runs right alongside the interstate and it won't slow you down too much for your commute. Southbound traffic, as you can see, starting to slow down as well. Some tail lights out that way, likely due to rubbernecking. We'll continue to monitor this spot though and keep you updated throughout the morning.
So the virus continues to take its toll on the sports world. Let me take you to Philly, where the Eagles head coach Doug Peterson, we're told, has tested positive for COVID-19. The team released a statement Sunday saying that Peterson is, quote, asymptomatic and doing well. He's in self-quarantine and is communicating with the team's medical staff. Those who were in contact with him have been notified. The positive test adds to the NFL's concern for the virus's spread during the upcoming season. The league already canceled all preseason games. The season is scheduled to begin September the 10th.
Well, basketball season is already underway out in Orlando, and while you can't watch the Pacers in person, you can cheer them on virtually. Before each Pacers home game in the bubble, the team will invite a select number of virtual fans to watch the game through their computers and have their video feeds shared live at the arena. The videos and the audio feeds will be visible to players and people watching the TV broadcast. You can also have a chance to be a virtual fan and just fill out the form to apply for this opportunity. You can find a link on our website. Just go to the IndyChannel.com.
So, Lauren, I haven't seen this story yet, so I'm really curious because many people say potato chips, vegetables, and other foods can look like a person. So after the break, the strong resemblance that thousands on Twitter say that this tomato right there has to an Indiana basketball legend. Do you see it? I'm not too sure about it, but we'll talk about this when Good Morning Indiana continues. So I'm not convinced about this, but I'm going to go ahead and read this. Indiana's own Larry Bird is trending on Twitter for the discovery of his unlikely doppelganger. Take a look at this. Do you see it? An oddly shaped tomato has made its way across the internet for bearing a strong resemblance, they say, to the basketball legend. I'm not sure about that. See, the pic was posted by a Twitter user named Paul on Friday, but blew up this weekend when several people pointed out the similarities. More than 30,000 tweets and memes have now been made about Bird and the trending tomato. Listen, I know he's a legend. He is a legend in Indiana. I don't see it.
I don't know.
I don't see it.
I think I think it looks like someone else, but I can't figure out who.
I know. It's a familiar face.
Yeah. It's not LB. It's not LB. I'm sorry, everybody.
It looks like someone. I just don't know who.
And if it's going to be LB, I'd say find corn or something more Indiana-ish. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Oh, so we're disappointed in the veggie choice. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense for sure. Well, hopefully you're not too disappointed in this forecast. We're starting fairly nice this morning, 60s to start our day. As we head into the afternoon, we do have showers and storms coming our way. Most of that activity going to start midday and into the early afternoon before we see things fade off by the evening. Just a chance of showers and maybe a pop-up storm in there. Not expecting severe weather at this time, but maybe a good time to have your Storm Shield app downloaded on your phone so you know what's going on. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back.